Today, I want to talk about that bleak, lasting side of horror that keeps you up at night. These movies won't be ranked or rated, as a couple of them I honestly don't even like that much. But I should also mention major spoilers ahead. To get to the heart of these films, I'm going to have to go in depth. So, if you dare, join me in this dark and devastating world as we discuss 7 horror movies that will leave you unsettled. Starting off, we have Hostel from 2005. 3 backpackers traveling Europe end up in Slovakia to further their hedonistic cravings. Upon arrival, they one by one realize the danger they have been led into. I wanted to start with this infamous early 2000s film that helped propel Eli Roth's career because of how weird a mashup it is. We begin with a pretty explicit American Pie / road trip style of film fitting right in that time period. Then right when you're questioning if you accidentally put on the X-rated version, things take a very dark turn as our male leads get strapped to chairs and brutally, and I mean brutally, tortured before our eyes. And like the camera not cutting away for the sex, it stays right on there for some gruesome practical gore effects. An uncomfortable watch, it gave me a pit in my stomach for the longest time. Next up, we have Summer of '84 from 2018. A teenage boy begins to suspect his police officer neighbor is a serial killer. Convincing his friends to help investigate, their summer is consumed in the pursuit of evidence. As the truth comes out, nobody will be left the same. Made during that period of time where everything coming out seemed to be following in the footsteps of Stranger Things, this movie follows a very similar setup for a lot of the runtime. I mean, there's no Upside Down or Demogorgons, but we still got our group of teenage boys investigating something going on in their small town. Where the shift happens though, and once again, spoiler alert, is that final act. Not only is our main protagonist Davy proven right and the neighbor is in fact the killer, but this killer sneaks into his house, kidnaps him and his friend, and then plays a cruel game of cat and mouse on his hunting ground of this isolated island. All of that is unsettling enough. Then the killer delivers one of the cruelest and coldest speeches to Davy I have ever seen. It is spine-chilling and left it lingering in my brain for weeks. Hell, it's a large reason this list exists. Next up, Strange Darling from 2023. A one-night stand spirals out of control into a serial killer's shocking murder spree. Before I go any further, heavy spoilers. For this movie, is impossible to discuss properly without explaining what's going on. So, the film is presented with its acts out of order. Masterfully so, as at first the setup seems to be Callum Gallner's character hunting Willa Fitzgerald's character. This is true, but as the plot reveals itself, we find out that Callner is in fact a cop and Fitzgerald is a serial killer. I question anyone to honestly tell me that when we meet the cocaine-huffing Gallner chasing the blood-soaked Fitzgerald, that this is the assumption you drew in your mind. The reason for its inclusion on this list, if all of that isn't unsettling enough, is the nuanced fears and issues it addresses. Fitzgerald's character at multiple times fools other characters by portraying herself as a victim, leading to a he said, she said, while also having her killing method largely involve deceiving men into one-night stands before brutally killing them. For a guy, remembering the normal challenges of the dating world, this was very unsettling. Following on from that, we have It Follows from 2014. A young woman is constantly pursued by an unknown supernatural force after a one-night stand. On a similar note to Strange Darling, It Follows offers a supernatural but no less terrifying twist on the hookup scene. I mean, without even going into direct spoilers, the more in-depth premise is about some kind of entity enabled to appear as anyone at any time, slowly following you everywhere and only able to be passed on to someone new if you have sex with that person. Very much a modern day The Ring, a great version, I might add. This movie is unsettling in so many ways. You never know what the entity will look like, when it will come for you. And add to that, the only way to pass it is with sex. Thematically dealing with STDs and the horrific implications of knowingly giving it to someone, this film once more unsettles anyone who has ever explored the dating world. Up next, we have The Mist from 2007. Following a violent storm, a strange cloud of mist descends on a small town in Maine. When a local artist and his young son travel to the grocery store for supplies, they soon discover there is something deadly hiding within the mist, trapping them and the townsfolk within the store. My most recent rewatch on this list, I had seen the movie many years ago and remember how deeply unsettling the ending was. I even somewhat recall my brother not recommending this movie because of the ending. But before we get there, this whole film is unsettling. We see the darkest, primal side of humanity come out as people are put in a pressure cooker and the worst instincts take over. Religious madness and dumb decisions happen all around. Then we get that ending. Emotionally devastating. Different from the original Stephen King novella, and one he supported. For me personally, it at the very least creates one hell of a memorable closing moment. Our runner-up is going to be Green Room from 2015. A punk rock band is trapped inside a bar run by neo-Nazis and must fight for survival. One thing for me that I find makes a movie unsettling is staying power. In other words, how memorable is it? Green Room speaks to this largely. There is a sequence in which our lead, played by the late great Anton Yelchin, has his hand on one side of a door. In an act of faith, as the two groups are negotiating, the gravity of the events become brutally clear as Yelchin's hand is viciously hacked and mutilated by knife-wielding psychos. It is the off-screen sound effects in combination with the eventual reveal of what's happened to his arm that made my stomach twist in several different knots and seared the images into my brain. Last, and in this case, least, we have Speak No Evil from 2022. Two families meet while on vacation. When one family invites the other to their home, things slowly devolve into a series of events, more and more unpleasant. This is one of those movies that can only be seen once. Unless you're a sicko for this kind of bleak nihilism, it's even hard to get through a single watch. The whole time you're unsettled because you know something is wrong. There is something off about the host family, you just can't put your finger on it. And our visiting family, one of the most frustrating collection of characters ever put to screen. Nobody deserves what they got, but wow. When you act this annoyingly dumb, it's really hard to get a defense. Nothing prepares you for the ending though. Not recommending this film at all, I'll cut right to it. The visiting family's daughter has her tongue cut out before being human trafficked, and the parents are stoned to death in an abandoned quarry. Not only does it ruin your night, I I came so close to turning it off. This movie is the definition of unsettling. Ugh. Does anyone else need a hug after that? For everyone who stuck through it, thank you so much for watching. And I'm really sorry if I brought your day down. Sometimes horror is like that though. Devastating. Let me know what you guys think in those comments below and tell me some movies that left you unsettled. And also, have you seen these before? If so, tell me which one unsettled you the most. Let's talk all about it. Could you please like, share, and definitely subscribe? It always means a lot. And until the next time, what's your favorite scary movie?